Okay, hello and a very good evening. Thank you for joining Swords Travel and Celebrity Cruises for our trip to the Galapagos Islands. My name's Johnny. I've been working for Celebrity Cruises now for 7 years. It's a privilege to be spending time with you this evening to share with you our standout product for Celebrity. This is an armchair discovery to one of the most mysterious destinations on Earth. In the next 30 minutes, I'll guide you through the experience, sharing my first-hand knowledge. I was in the Galapagos Islands myself back in June 2019. I've got lots to talk about destination-wise, as well as sharing with you the unique features on board Celebrity Flora. So this evening really is about Celebrity Flora, but it would be remiss of me not to mention that her two sisters that we have in the fleet. We have a fleet of 3 vessels in the Galapagos. We've actually been there for 16 years, which makes us true experts in luxury expedition within this space. That might surprise some of you. I know that Celebrity Cruises is generally better known for luxurious ocean cruising, but we have been in the Galapagos Islands for a long, long time. It's a very niche product. We work very closely with the Galapagos National Park and the Ecuadorian government to deliver what is an unforgettable experience that not only gives you a great trip, but also helps preserve the fragile environment. So let's talk through what the Galapagos is, what's included. So pretty much everything is included in your trip with Celebrity. So that will include international flights from the UK, the cruise itself, of course, all pre and post hotels, all of your shore experiences are included, pretty much everything. Once you've paid, you don't have to worry about anything else at all. It's very different to perhaps what you would expect from a normal cruise. Everything is pretty much taken care of. So Celebrity Flora, she is a glorious vessel. I'm just a couple of numbers to pull out here, I guess. Key numbers for you. The first one is the guest to crew ratio. We actually have a crew of 81 looking after just 100 guests. It's a full suite vessel. So what that will show you, I'm sure, is that the service levels on board are absolutely second to none. And probably more importantly, though, it's the guest to naturalist ratio. So we actually have the best ratio in the islands. Generally speaking, you will have 1 naturalist to 16 guests. And as you can see here, we have 1 naturalist to 10. So that really makes for an enhanced shore experience. And I'll explain a bit more about that in just a little while. So I'm going to focus today on the all-inclusive experience and a 10-night trip that's been laid out for you. This is the one that I enjoyed. So this offers that 7-night cruise, 2 nights pre-cruise in Quito, and then 1 night post-cruise in Quito to relax at the end of your trip. There is also the option to discover a little bit more of the region. So there is a brilliant 6-night post-cruise Peruvian adventure, and I will share that information for you as well. So as promised, I'm going to talk you through the trip day by day. So first of all, this is exactly what I experienced. I picked up the KLM flight at Heathrow. It was an early start, picked up the 6 a.m. flight. It's a quick hop across to Amsterdam, of course, and then it was a really great connection. I think we were on the ground for just over an hour before we picked up that long haul flight across to Quito, arriving into Quito in early evening. So economy seats are included, but there are also premium economy and business class upgrades available. Speak to the Swords team, they can tell you all about that. Once you arrive into Quito, this is really where the service truly begins. You'll be met on arrival in Quito by the tour director. Your tour director also doubles as one of your naturalists. So right from arrival into South America, you're going to be looked after in almost a concierge style service right the way throughout your trip. So the first evening, we use a wonderful property that we've worked with for as long as we've been in the Galapagos and Ecuador. So we work with the JW Marriott. It's a great hotel. And again, your personal tour director will be assisting with check-in. Your first evening is either a time to climatize and relax, or you could perhaps do what I did, which is head straight to downtown Quito. There is a free shuttle bus. It's a really bustling city. I didn't want to miss a moment. But plenty of my fellow passengers decided that that first evening probably the clever option was to get a good night's sleep, as the following day is a really full, fun-packed day. So Quito itself is a wonderful, vibrant city, a beautiful historical place. It's actually the second highest capital in the world at 9,350 feet above sea level. What you can see here is a very dramatic backdrop. This is El Pan Asigo, which is a hill and a statue that acts as that dramatic backdrop to the old city of Quito. So day number 2, once you've woken up, you have breakfast in the hotel, and then you will be guided right through the day by a local tour guide. This is somebody who really knows the region very, very well. So the idea is that during your time in Quito, you get the very best out of your time in the city. So not to talk right the way through the experience, but some of the main features are visiting the Solar Museum and also a wonderful monastery of San Francisco. Your meals are included through the day also. So we have lunch in a spectacular restaurant with a wonderful view of the city, a very local and authentic gourmet restaurant. And then later on, once you've finished your full day tour, we have a welcome dinner. So you and your fellow passengers who are all heading to Celebrity Flora will enjoy another great meal at a top quality gourmet restaurant that is very authentic and in keeping with the region. So day 3 is where things got really exciting for me. You will again wake up for breakfast in the hotel, and this is when we pick up our exclusive charter flight from Quito to the islands, and we actually fly to the island of Baltra. Again, you are fully escorted by your tour director right the way through. So one thing to mention is the paperwork that is required to get into the islands. It's very, very strict. It's all about conserving the environment, and it can be quite a lot of paperwork to complete. There's various visas and park entry permits. That is all absolutely taken care of by Celebrity Cruises. You don't have to worry about anything at all. On this trip, any requirements to get on and off the island, it's all dealt with for you. And again, as I mentioned, you are escorted. So that charter flight, I think what's important to mention about the charter flight is you are only going to be traveling with the fellow passengers for Flora. Nobody else is joining that flight. So it doesn't matter where our guests have arrived from anywhere in the world, everybody picks up that same exclusive charter flight. What this means is you're not waiting around for other guests to arrive. It's a very seamless transfer from the aircraft into Baltra and then onto Flora. So just to put things into context a little bit for you, you can see here where the islands are in relation to Ecuador. We pretty much follow the equator right the way across, and it's about a 2.5-hour flight away from the mainland, 1,300 kilometers. And it's a very, very dramatic flight with regards to the views. I absolutely loved it, especially as we left Quito. There was some great photo opportunities. And again, because we had the luxury of the naturalist with us, we were able to kind of absorb all of the information about the trip before we hit the islands. It was wonderful. So we arrived into Baltra, and this is actually how you transfer to Celebrity Flora. If you've not been on an expedition vessel before, I certainly hadn't, it was my first time, then it's very unusual compared to the normal way to embark a cruise vessel. You actually pick up a state-of-the-art tender. Your luggage here is sent ahead and it's delivered to your suite on arrival. I mentioned again, all of the strict arrival processes are taken care of, and it actually takes just 10 minutes to get from the pier side onto Celebrity Flora. And this is how we embark. So we were met by the hotel director and a lot of the team, a wonderful arrival. We were able to access our suites immediately. We had a wonderful lunch on board, and then we started to set sail because it was the first island experience actually began that afternoon. So for fear of repeating myself, I just do want to remind you that our Galapagos experience really is all included. The list that you see here is by no means exhaustive, but I do want to kind of showcase what we have to really make the experience extra special. There's lots to make you feel at home. These special features are really to help you feel as comfortable as possible for the next 7 days. And you can see that it really has everything taken care of. So let's talk through a few of the accommodation options. I'm just going to share a couple with you. The Swords team are very au fait with Celebrity Flora. They'll be able to share all the other options, but I'm going to show you the penthouse suite, the top of the range, if you like, and then I'll share the Sky Suite, which is a suite that I enjoyed, which again is a really spacious suite. So what you can see here is the penthouse. And Flora has been designed very, very cleverly to bring the outside in. So it's all about floor to ceiling windows, getting as close to the islands as you possibly can. And one thing that I thought was a really clever design was, contrary to how most of all the other vessels in the islands are designed, the bed configuration, the beds are always facing the water. So when you open your curtains in the morning, regardless of what suite type you choose, you are going to be looking directly onto the island, a new island every day. As the sun rises. It was absolutely wonderful. All king-size beds. And here we have some of the other interiors of the penthouse suite. You can see very tastefully designed. We actually worked with local designers from the region. Everything has been made sustainable. Everything has been designed to have as little impact on the environment as possible, and that is including the interiors. So for the penthouse, we actually have the largest suites on the islands, and as you can see, they are very, very spacious indeed, right at the rear of the vessel. And then the Sky Suite. So this is a suite that I enjoyed. Again, a very spacious suite. We have the most spacious lead-in suites in the islands. This was wonderful. I chose to take a suite with a traditional balcony. We also have what we call an infinite balcony available. Again, the guys can talk you through this. I quite enjoyed being able to open the door and to enjoy that sort of traditional balcony space when I was enjoying the views in the privacy of my own suite. So the suites are fully automated. They are very, very much at the forefront of technology. Nothing to think about, nothing to worry about. Everything you would expect from a top-rate hotel is included. So as I said, those are just two of the options that are available, and do speak to the Swords team for more information. I'm going to move on to talk about a couple of the public areas. This is one that I'm really passionate about. It cannot be found anywhere else in the islands. Celebrity Flora has an exclusive state-of-the-art science lab, which has been designed to allow you to get as close to the islands as possible, a real hands-on opportunity to learn about the makeup of the islands that we are so committed to protecting. We're actually partnered with leading marine scientists across the globe, and part of our commitment to the region is that we share real-time data that is being collected on Celebrity Flora every sailing that takes place. Now, this absolutely blows my mind, because this data that we're sharing, eventually, the hope is that we will be able to predict El Nino and El Nina, which are the two phenomena. They occur in the islands about every 5 to 7 years. It's a natural occurrence, but they are devastating to the islands. And as I say, the data that Celebrity Flora is collecting hopefully will help protect those islands for future generations. Okay, and here we have Darwin's Cove, another one of the very, very spacious public areas. This is where the conversations with the naturalists continue. So you may or may not have been on a cruise before, but I can tell you that generally speaking, on a cruise ship, the stars of the show tend to be the captain or the hotel director. That is absolutely not the case with Celebrity Flora. The stars of the show are the naturalists. They are local to the islands. They are the very best in their field. They have total expertise, and literally you along with them will be following in the footsteps of Charles Darwin and David Attenborough. They offer wonderful expert educational talks on board, and they are there to guide you every step of the way to make sure that you get the very best and the very most out of your time on the island. So once you've finished your island experiences, this is where you would often find the naturalists hanging around, and I was happy to absorb more and more information. They really did make the experience. Oops, and then we have the first restaurant. We have two restaurants on board. This is the Seaside restaurant. The restaurants have, the menus rather, have been crafted by our very own Michelin star chef. Although Flora has just 100 guests, so we're catering for not too many people at all. The choice was amazing. As you can imagine, fish is of abundance, sustainable fish, of course, and it was absolutely excellent, but there was an awful lot of choice. Two restaurants. I probably dined here once actually during the whole trip because I spent most of my time on the top deck on the Ocean Grill and Bar. Completely different menu. Again, menu is a la carte, but for me, it was about carrying on that island experience. I love to have breakfast on the top deck. We had lunches here, and also in the evening when the sun sets and the stars come out, it just really kind of carried on that wonderful adventure as we sailed between the islands. And then just the observatory, which is right above the bridge. This was a cozy little space that I discovered with a wonderful library dedicated to the islands, a perfect place to learn more about them. And it was just one of those spaces that I was able to kind of enjoy a real bit of quiet time with those wonderful views. So you may or may not be surprised to see that Celebrity Flora has some brilliant facilities, a small gym and a spa. So if you do have a routine, you can carry on that routine, or you can relax, or both. The facilities on board are second to none. So outside, again, on deck number 7, we actually have 2 hot tubs, which are wonderful. I have to say that when we'd finished our island experiences and arrived back onto Flora around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, there was nothing better than relaxing our muscles, having a glass of fizz as the sun set, and yeah, I really did make the most of the hot tubs. So just along on deck 7, on the Vista, the top deck, we have another relaxation space. What you can see there on the right is, well, they're glamping pods. They are totally unique, and this is an opportunity for you to spend an evening underneath the stars. So this is a one-of-a-kind glamping and dining experience with 2 adjoined cabanas where a tasting menu is served, followed by cocktails, before our naturalist arrives as the night falls onto the islands, and we share one of nature's most spectacular shows, stargazing with skies that are so clear you can literally see as far as the Milky Way. Due to the position of the islands, it's possible to see the northern and the southern constellations at the same time. We saw shooting stars. It was absolutely wonderful. And then you can fall asleep under the stars on that glorious king-size bed before being woken the next morning with breakfast as the sun rises on a new island. There's nowhere else to experience anything like this, and I have to say it was absolutely amazing. I can't take credit for that photo, but believe me, what I show you here is a pretty true indication of what we saw from on board Flora. And then back inside, this is the Discovery Lounge. I would describe this as the heartbeat of the ship. This is where the naturalists will use the largest screen on the islands as their platform to help you choose your island experience for wherever we are heading to next. So moving on to the islands themselves, just again to touch in a little bit more detail about the yacht tenders. These are the most stable and comfortable way to get from sea to shore. So this is exclusive to Flora. They're brand new. They use incredible hydraulic technology to stabilize and make the wet and the dry landings more comfortable. On the islands, you'll either dock onto a pier or dock directly onto the beach. And as I say, it really makes either of those very, very comfortable indeed. So Celebrity Flora has 2 itineraries to choose from. We have the inner and the outer loop. I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't get too caught up if I were you in which itinerary to choose. All of the islands offer a great selection of wildlife. We actually have what is known as the Big Four. So you've got the safari with the Big Five, we have the Big Four in the Galapagos. So whichever itinerary you choose, you will see blue-footed boobies, sea turtles, giant tortoises, and sea lions. And then depending on when you travel, will depend on what wildlife is likely to be most active. So for me, I was really, really keen to see the sea lions, and I also was really keen to see the marine iguanas. So the Swords team can really help narrow down when is the best time to travel, depending on what species you might be interested in. So the $1 million question is always when is the best time to visit, not only for the wildlife, but for the weather. Again, don't get too caught up in what it says here. January to June, yes, they are warm. March and April, it says warm and wet. The weather is pretty consistent all year round. Then July and December is just kind of known as the dry season. I've just picked out one example here. So if you were to travel in October, this is when the Galapagos fur seals begin to mate. You'll see the blue-footed boobies raise their chicks all over the island of Hispaniola, and there's lots of species of birds as they migrate across the island at this point. But again, for me, I was very much driven by those two aforementioned species and what I'd seen on the David Attenborough documentaries to speak to the Swords team, and they will absolutely help narrow down to make sure you get the best out of your trip. So why celebrity flora? I think there's plenty of reasons why actually, but it's not just what I say about flora that's important. I think it's important to pull out just a couple of accolades. First of all, Flora was voted as the best expedition ship by Condé Nast readers in 2020. And also just to mention that she gives the highest guest satisfaction scores across our fleet, and all the standout features and service and everything else really make for those incredible scores. But it's not all about you. We are very, very keen at Celebrity also to ensure that we leave the world in a better place. I think one of the buzz phrases at the moment is sustainable tourism. Well, with Celebrity Flora, you are actually partaking in regenerative tourism, because you will actually leave the world in a better place than you found it. Some of the initiatives that have been built into Flora are absolutely incredible, and I've listed quite a few of them here. So there is no anchor, for example. When we are stable, we don't have to drop an anchor, so that means that we aren't causing any harm to the seabed. Right down to the crazy detail of the fact that we actually recycle the air conditioning water on board to make sure we have such a minimal impact. Really incredible, some of the features. So the island experiences themselves, there is definitely a difference between visiting and experiencing. Those wonderful naturalists that I spoke of earlier are really there to make sure that you get the very most out of your trip, but also to protect the species. We have all of the gear that you require to get the most out of the island experiences. So you can enjoy snorkeling, we have a fleet of kayaks, we have all of the hiking equipment, and generally speaking, each island experience, or each island rather, will have a choice of 3 shore experiences available. And they're generally built on how strenuous that experience might be. So there are some things that are going to be more strenuous, like a long hike, and others that weren't so. What I will say is Celebrity Flora is absolutely suitable for anyone that can climb a flight of stairs. That, as far as I'm concerned, if you're able to climb a flight of stairs, then you are able to enjoy Celebrity Flora. But the choice of shore experiences, yeah, it depends on how much you want to kind of get to close to nature. I very much enjoyed the kind of more strenuous experiences. So I'm just sharing a couple of my own photographs now. This is the wonderful island of Hispaniola. 4 million years old, and here you can see Flora in the background. You can see just how close we got to those sea lions. Absolutely amazing. The largest bay in the Galapagos. I can't explain what I'm doing here, but you can see that the species are by no means fazed by human interaction. There is no fear. One of the unique things about the wildlife in the Galapagos is they do not fear humans at all. The general rule of thumb is that we don't get closer than 2 meters. They've been doing the 2 meter rule long before it became, it happened across the last year. But if they approach you, it's fine. And of course, they are all very, very safe. These aren't my photos. I can't take credit for these, but they are the photos of a fellow traveller who had a brilliant underwater camera. The one thing that I do regret is not taking a decent camera with me. I'm ashamed to say I was using my phone actually, but yes, some of the fellow passengers had great camera equipment to capture those money shots. And again, the waved albatross, endemic to the island, absolutely wonderful. This is my photo. This is how close we got. And what I would like to point out at this stage is I was blown away by the knowledge again of the naturalist, but also having that group of just 10 guests to one naturalist made sure everybody got their money shot, everybody got their time to absorb their surroundings, to get the most out of the island. I really enjoyed the pace of the island experiences. I didn't feel that we were being rushed around at any point. It really made the trip having that smaller number of within the group. And yeah, this was my favourite, the marine iguanas. They were described as disgusting by Darwin. I thought they were absolutely mesmerising myself. They are the only seagoing lizards anywhere in the world, and they've literally evolved over millions of years to be able to swim down to the bottom of the ocean and collect their plankton. And then they bake on the rocks to regulate the temperature. I actually spotted these on one of the BBC documentaries. You may or may not remember, it's the one where, I mean, you have massive anxiety, but it's the one where the snakes were chasing the iguanas, about a 3-minute, you can catch it on YouTube, it was incredible. And to think that I was following in the footsteps of that film crew was just absolutely wonderful. And then again, for keen bird watchers, the Nazca boobies, really, really close. They were very, very active on the island at that particular time. Absolutely wonderful. And then Santa Cruz is just one of the other islands that I like to mention, as it is the home of the Charles Darwin Foundation. So it's quite a lively island. We head up into the foothills here, and you can actually partake in a tree planting program. And most of our guests decide that they want to do that. And it's just another way to kind of give back, actually, all included in the price of your trip. I could share all of my photos and all of my island experiences with you, but I don't think that's fair. I think what was great for me with the islands was to see things for myself for the first time. So I'm going to skip forward to the end of the trip. So this is day number 9, where we will have breakfast on board Flora before we pick up our internal charter flight again, which you are escorted again back from Baltra to Quito to spend that final night in the hotel at Quito. And by this point, I have to say, most of, well, me and my fellow passengers, we'd had a great trip, but we definitely wanted to relax. So we just took the hotel facilities to enjoy that final evening before picking the flight up the next day and heading back to the UK via Amsterdam. So I did mention that there is an option to extend. So if you are going all that way, I know at the moment there's a lot of pent-up demand for real bucket list trips. People want to plan for something really special. So it might be that you'd like to extend onto the 10 nights with another 6 to head to Machu Picchu. A wonderful trip. We use all the very best hotel options. We actually partner with Belmont Hotels, really, really great. And again, we've been here for coming up to 17 years now. So the experience itself is absolutely seamless. I would recommend perhaps speaking to the Swords team about the options to do that extension. So bringing it back to the 10-night trip that we've spoken through, I just wanted to share an example of the pricing. So this is for that 10-night trip, including the international flights, and everything mentioned, as I say before, that price of that Sky Suite, the one that I shared with the balcony, is coming in at just $8,599 per person. So we're actually on sale right the way through to the end of 2022, and will shortly be going on sale for Galapagos into 2023. So it really is a great time to start planning. It's a nice low deposit, and it's just £300 per person deposit for this trip. I'm happy to say that during the last 12 months, Celebrity Cruises really has been leading the way industry-wide with regards to how we've looked after our clients who unfortunately perhaps due to the pandemic hadn't been able to travel. We were refunding in a very, very timely manner where it needed to be done. I just want you to be reassured that Swords Travel, that they partner with the suppliers that do the right thing by their clients, and I'm proud that we do definitely fall into that category. So the flexibility for your trip is really excellent. And again, I would speak directly to the team who will be able to kind of talk you through that in more detail. So that is all I have to say. Thank you very much for joining. I do appreciate it. I'm going to sign off now and just ask that you pick up with the Swords team over the next few days. They'll be very happy to check availability and pricing for you. And once again, thank you for joining. Thank you very much.